Hello everybody. Welcome to the stream, and we are going to have a little bit of a chat. Only a little bit of a chat. I'm not going to be around for too long because I will be honest with you, I have another video to record after this, and then I'm working El Clasico tomorrow, which is going to be a little bit of a nightmare, so I'm only going to be streaming for about 15-20 minutes or something like that. But I thought we'd have a little bit of a natter about the transfer window, because it is always a very, very fun point of conversation. Also, I thought I'd give you a little bit of like a sneak peek into the incredible detailed preparations that I've been doing for the PSR video that I'm working on, which is fun. Because it's absolutely chaos. Because when you're talking PSR, a lot of people don't understand what's going on. So I figured I'd do a diagram, and the diagram hasn't helped. If anything, I think the diagram has confused me a little bit more. But hopefully, this all starts to make a little bit of sense when I try to explain it. But yeah, generally, my first question is, how's everyone doing? I hope we're doing very well. Can we get Kylian Mbappe? I wouldn't want Kylian Mbappe, even if we could. This might be a me being weird thing, but Mbappe's always seemed to be one of those players that's sort of like, I don't know, they're playing for themselves rather than playing for the team around them, and that always feels like a little bit of a weakness. That always feels like a little bit of a problem in a footballer. I'm trying to think of a similar Leeds example, but no one's particularly coming to mind, but that's fine. Hello, Carl. How are you doing? I'm hoping very, very well. This is just going to be a little bit of a Q&A style stream where we can talk about absolutely anything, absolutely everything for a little while. I'll be completely honest with you, and because this is a channel where we do honesty, a big reason for doing this stream is because in the past few days I've sort of struggled to get into like the mindset to do streams because various pet things in the background. So that's fun. So I'm thinking if I get myself to do a stream now, then maybe it becomes easier to do streams tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after, because this entire thing is about momentum. Same for videos as well, but who knows? What about Haaland? Can we get him instead? I can see if there's a child Haaland. I can see if there's a less good Haaland, in the same way that there's like Jude Bellingham, who's like up here in terms of level, and then there's Job Bellingham. Maybe there's a Job Haaland. In that case, we can sign him instead. Potato, indeed. Rather of Matt Smith than Mbappe. Right, we're talking the Doctor Who actor or the crap striker? Because I would take the Doctor Who actor over all of the above, I'll be completely honest with you. A, because he's got a little bit of charisma. And B, because he made me enjoy my childhood, you know? And if someone makes you enjoy your childhood, you can't exactly be mad at them, can you? God. And if you could, what kind of person would you even be? You'd be a nightmare person. That's what you'd be. You'd be horrible. 1 second. Let's just quickly do that. The striker we had. I know what you mean, but I'd rather take the Doctor Who actor. Like, without a second thought for me. It's got to be. Like, no doubts. Not at all. Watched the Bamford CBS interview earlier. Annoyingly can't help but love that guy. I will watch that tomorrow, I think. So tomorrow I've got like early morning meeting. I've got a bit of a gap, and then El Clasico's on, where ideally Rafinha scores 3 or 4 goals, and that will make me very happy. Whether or not that happens, we'll have to find out. But who knows? But I will watch the Bamford interview sort of in that gap in the middle, which I think should be quite nice. Yeah, a lot of people just don't like Pat Bamford, but I don't know. I think I have a natural approach of I quite like people, and I like when people are happy, and I like when people are doing well, especially if they're associated with Leeds United. So there's a sort of sneaky little cursed part within me that is like, what if we did keep him next season? What if Matteo goes out on loan, we buy another number 9 to be our starting 9? We can just have 3, and that's okay, because I don't think 2's enough. But you've got new 9, Peru, Bamford, and then depending on what you need in any given match, if you get injuries, if you need a different profile of forward, maybe you just go to Bamford. Maybe it works. 1 second. Strike me out. No, I'm great. Thank you, mate. Just hope we get the right players to keep us up. I think we will. I'll be honest, I've got no doubt about that. I think we will make the right choices because we've got good decision makers in the club. If you look at what's happened in recent transfer windows, if you look at everything under Daniel Farke, there's only one transfer that I look at and I say that was a complete dud, and that is Jed Spence. And I personally don't believe that that was the fault of the club. I think that was the fault of the player themselves not quite being someone who is that good of a team player. I think it's a case of someone that is a little bit too committed to who they are and not changing to fit within a system, within a unit. But in the end, it worked out. And you say that Schmidt hasn't been that good. To be fair, Schmidt is, at the very least, a functional, serviceable player, which I'm not going to complain about. To be completely honest with you, the fact that he is there and he's able to do what he is able to do, that's fine by me. And you're not always going to be at the core of a club when you first come in. And if you look at the squad throughout the season, Bogle had a brilliant season. Firpo had a brilliant season. Are there either of those that you're just going to straight drop? Probably not. But everyone's been screaming that Schmidt is a fullback. But if you're not swapping Schmidt for any of those players, then you look further up the pitch. Well, Solomon, excellent on the left. James, excellent on the right. Nonto, fantastic at filling in wherever he is needed. And people already screaming to play Largy. So where does Schmidt fit in there? I think this is a case of, as the squad evolves, Schmidt will come into a much bigger role. And he plays a sort of Stuart Dallasy role anyway, where he can go basically wherever we want him. So, yeah, I think your issue with Schmidt isn't that he's not been good, it's that he's not been played much. But we'll get a lot of that, I think, in the coming period. Sorry, Bamford will be our backup or third backup next season. People may hate, but that'll be it. I don't mind it, to be completely honest with you. It'll be fine. A little random for a Saturday night. I think Bamford could get 15 plus in the Prem. I'm going to stay very, very quiet because you said that, not me. And if I said that, people will get grumpy at me. I think I'm going to get 15 plus at the Creator Cup. No, I don't. I really don't think that. On that note, if I do have a mod, can you drop a link to the Creator Cup? Thank you. If I don't have a mod, that's fine. All good. But yeah, it is a bit random for a Saturday night, but it's random in the way that I kind of needed to get out of a not doing streams and videos much rut. And I think this is a good way to do so. So it's fine. Wouldn't be too angry with Ramsdale in goal. Elvedi as a centre back. Matt Target, come on. I think we can go above Matt Target. I did a list actually. This is a really fun list as well. A list of signings from last season to prove that, because various people have been saying, I don't know if 100 million is enough, to prove that 100 million is more than enough. So, goalkeeper. I think it's Forest signed Vlachodimos for 23 million euros. That's a lot for a goalkeeper as well. Huysen, Hausen, the one at Bournemouth from Juve, cost 15.2 million euros. Caleb Wiley at Chelsea, 10 million euros. Bergvall at Spurs, 10 million. Fabio Carvalho, 23.4. Liam Delap, 17. That adds up to 98 million. That's a big squad transformation, and that is ignoring loans and free transfers. So last season, the average Premier League club got 1.8 loans or free transfers in. So you can expect at least 2 players from that direction as well, maybe more depending. I know we're not getting Delap. These are examples of players that have gone to various clubs last season that you can say equivalent signings this season with different players, obviously, but players of the same level will transform the squad to become a decent level. Petrovic does look quite good. If we were able to get Petrovic, that would be transformative. We can hope, I believe. I'd quite like it. But maybe not. Who knows? Even Joe, I hope you're good. Think Ramsdale will be a great upgrade. I don't know about Ramsdale. I think it's a very, very hard argument to try and push for Ramsdale considering the sort of season that he's had, which is, to be clear, not a good one. Like, consider where he's finished and the sort of, like, issues he's dealt with. I just feel like the most relegatable player in world football is not someone that you want to be signing as a club that's just been promoted. That sort of makes things a little bit spooky. So not ideal, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at what his numbers have been like this season, though. Yeah, he concedes more than he should. I think his expected goals against to goals against is maybe worse than Mellier's, which isn't what you want to see. But who knows? Where are we? We're still on about keepers. We have a goalkeeper in Darlow, and Mez isn't a bad backup. I don't know if Darlow's a Premier League starting keeper, though. That's the issue. Darlow is a decent keeper, but I don't know if we go up a level, if he works there. Because we've seen how he looks uncomfortable in possession already, and then you add the increased pace of the Premier League and the fact that he would still need to have the ball at his feet. Things don't get less scary in that situation. If anything, it gets worse and worse. Petrovic is looking like he'd likely go on loan to somewhere, but I don't know where. Ampadu has a lot of relegations. He does. That's fair, yeah. But if we were to have gotten promoted to the Premier League and then we bought Ampadu, you can see why that would be a little bit on the spookier side. We'll just have to wait and see in the forthcoming transfer market. We will indeed. And I will be doing my best to do videos on all of it, which should be good fun. Because, you know, it's nice to talk about this weird shared hobby that we all have that is called Leeds United. But I'm hoping it all ends quite well. We'll find out. A lot of early business for us, do you reckon? Right. This is where the transfer window this season is weird. So I'm going to get my giant post-it notes out again. Are they giant post-it notes, or am I really small? This is where things are complicated. But the fun part about the window this time is it isn't one window. As far as I am aware, it's different. So, initially, the window will open on the 1st of June over here. And it'll open for 10 days because of the Club World Cup. That is to make sure that they are able to register players that they want in the Club World Cup that would otherwise not be available because the Club World Cup has 2 registration periods. It's got the pre-tournament one and then the pre-knockout phase one. And if you sign anyone between the group stage and the knockouts, you can add players at that point. The 1st to the 10th thing seems like it is basically a Real Madrid want Trent Alexander-Arnold rule. It feels like, well, Liverpool, you're not going to use him anymore, so can we just have him early and they'll throw a little bit of cash Liverpool's way and then it'll be absolutely brilliant for them. Wonderful, fantastic, good times. And then you got a 6-day gap until it is open. So I think we'll get a decent amount of early stuff done. Probably nothing in terms of free transfers and stuff, because obviously those contracts haven't run out yet, so it doesn't really make any sense for that to happen. But I think it is wise for us to move early so we can get the squads built up, so we can get everyone nice and comfortable and ready to go. Everyone is training from the very start rather than being dropped in at the last moment, and everything starts to feel a little bit more comfortable that way. That is my overall hope for the coming window. But if that doesn't happen, then that's not great. But then again, there's a little bit of me that says that like the later we do business, the more rumors and bollocks are flying around, the more views happen. So who knows? Maybe I prefer that one. I don't prefer that one. Get the business done early. Thank you very much, Leeds. Malia goes, not Ramsdale, and Darlow stays as backup. That feels like that would make sense to me. At what point can we start complaining we haven't signed anyone yet? This is a good point, yeah. As soon as the window is open, that's when you'll get people complaining. Concrete links so far. There's a couple. So, as far as I can tell, the Elvedi thing from January still has something to it, as does potentially Weigl. But a lot of the links that we've been seeing recently seem very sort of either Rangers, because everyone is sort of like, ooh, 49ers, Leeds, Rangers. It makes sense, when in reality there's not much to those stories. Or Gladbach, because Daniel Farke, Gladbach, ooh, squished together. But they don't seem like much. Yeah, the couple that I've seen something behind is Weigl and Elvedi, but it'll be a while until we actually find out what is going on. At the Leeds Bros Legends during break at the Leeds Legends match today. It was a cracking day. It sounds like it. Glad you had fun. Will we sign Solomon? I hope so. I think so. We will have to find out. Who knows? Whoa, Chairs takes aren't that bad. If Spurs win Europa League, would that affect how much Tottenham would take for Solomon? I don't. That's a point, actually. Because you get more cash for winning the Europa League because the prize money is big. And simultaneously, Champions League TV money. So I think it puts the price down a little bit if they win the Europa League, but not too far. Joe, who do you think is going to be the first Valeri? I will counter that with Solomon. Because I think Solomon does get done. I also want Solomon to get done. I think that's the main difference here. First thing announced will be the new Dan James contract. I would quite like one of those. That would be good. Premier League says Ramsdale has made no errors leading to 17 saves. I mean, sure, but at the same time, let's find the numbers again. He's conceded 62 goals. It's quite a few. And he's performing comfortably below his expected goals against. So it's not great. I think there's other keepers around that are maybe a bit better. Joe, did you go to the parade? I did, not for too long, but I was there for a little bit, which was quite nice. Which, if any, out-of-contract players would you go for? I keep forgetting who's out of contract. Sod it, Milner. For the vibes. That'll do. Yeah, I mean, once, and it's never happening again. I don't know who you mean by Wilson. If you're meaning Callum Wilson, I hope not. That would be a problem. 6 goals with a crop. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. But according to XG stuff, he should have conceded 58. So he's conceding more than he should, and these are the exact same numbers that people use to bash Meslier. So let's not do this double standard bollocks that we like to do oh so much because we prefer one player to another. If we can do better, we can do better. And I feel like a lot of people are shouting Aaron Ramsdale because he's a name that they know. And he's a name that they've seen sometimes. And he's a name that they've seen play for Arsenal. Cool. That's fine. That's all well and good. But it's still not going great. Do you have a dream signing? How dream signing? Are we talking realistic dream signing or unrealistic dream signing? Because I got a banger of an unrealistic one. I would like Rafinha back quite badly. If we're talking realistic, the realistic sign of me is maybe a Kelleher, but I've quite interested in Nipan. I've forgotten what team he plays for. Rosenborg, there he is. Sver Halseth Nipan. Very, very, very good player. Ridiculously good footballer. Number 10. Who won't come cheap. Mastantuono is also on the list of 10s that won't come cheap, but are very good players. Also very young, so maybe a risk, but good names to have on the books. I think they're in sort of dream signing territory. That's not a bad choice. Yeah, for a left back. Would it be possible it cost us Simicast? I think it would be, but I've never been too pumped about the idea of Simicast. Purely because, I don't know. He's always been one of those players that whenever I've watched him has one of those weird tempers where like something very minor against him will happen, he'll just lose his mind. That's not really what you need when you're trying to stick about in the Premier League. That's, if anything, what you get when, I don't know. I feel like looking for players that are sane and will make good decisions is a good first step. And every time I've seen Simicast, he seems to be a little bit on the less sane direction. If you haven't, by the way, I'd hugely appreciate popping a like on the stream. That'd be really helpful. And subscribe if you've not, because I'm trying to get basically right. The way that YouTube works, at least as a football YouTuber, and I'm going to do a screen share again. There we go. So the way that YouTube works, if you are doing football YouTube, and this is a rough look at subscriber count more than anything, is you'll start. Occasionally you'll grow, and like from time to time, like, oh, small spike because the video did quite well. And then you'll hit the transfer market and it just goes bang. And it's like, oh, nice, cool. So I guess this upward trend is going to keep going forever. And then the transfer window ends and it goes flat and it goes flat. And then it's like, oh, a video's done okay, but it goes flat. And then the next window comes and it goes bang. And it just goes through the roof. So the reason that I'm asking more often right now, if people are subscribed, is because this is the time to sort of try and make the most of things, you know? And then the more I'm able to make the most of things, the more I'm able to do cool shit like the charity match, which hopefully goes really, really well. We will see. How quick, if at all, will we sign Rothwell? Sharpish, I'd say, if we do. I'd like us to. I'd like us to. But whether or not we do is a slightly bigger question for me. Because it's one of those ones that's a potentially very, very tricky signing to get done. As in, to establish at the club itself, is this definitely worth it? Because there's other fairly solid players surrounding it, you know. Loftus-Cheek, Tomori is firmly too well established for us, and Puig ain't that good anymore, as far as I'm aware. He's Greek. They're passionate. That's why. Sure, they are passionate, but that him being Greek doesn't change the fact that it's not the best of like personality traits for the situation that we're in. I hope not, because I think we're better than that. Predictions for Newcastle Chelsea tomorrow. I'm just putting tomorrow's bets. I'm going to too. I've got no idea. I've not watched the Premier League all season. I will return to watching the Premier League next season, and then depending, I may or may not watch the Premier League the season after that. Shopping on the Prem has two problems. The good ones are all on way too much money, won't be leaving the clubs. The shit ones aren't worth taking. We'll on moan when they don't do what we want. Yeah, this is why I think the international market is the way to go. How unrealistic is Ward-Prowse? I think Ward-Prowse, in terms of realism, is fine. It's in terms of level that he's a concern for me. I don't believe Ward-Prowse is a good enough player. Which may seem harsh, but there's a reason that he's not playing that much right now, so I'm going to have a very quick check. and see how many minutes he's had this season. Yeah, he's played 21 times at West Ham. 1,213 minutes, of which he has had 12 starts. Oh no, wait, he's bounced between them and Nottingham Forest. I don't know where he is now, but I don't particularly care where he is now. He's not particularly scoring. He's not particularly assisting. I can't. Like, with this, goal and assist contributions would be decent. This season so far, he's played 21 matches in the Premier League, and he's got 2 goals and assists. Specifically, 2 assists, which ain't ideal. There's got to be another Rafinha somewhere around the world. There will be, yeah. There'll be a couple. Just about finding them and persuading them that Leeds are the right one for them. Did we sign a proven Prem player last time we went up? Nope. Yeah. And I think that worked okay for us. And then what happened. We had 1,000 injuries all at the same time in one season. Marsh came in, and then he ran the recruitment for a season. And everything went wrong. Any idea of the keepers that we're looking at? There was a name I saw earlier, and I've completely forgotten who it was. No, there was Eric Dyer earlier that I saw, which I was like, that's a very bizarre one to go for, but sure. Unless WordPress isn't as good as he used to be. This is one that I have to keep quiet because everyone disagrees when I say it. I don't think Ward-Prowse was very good in the first place. I think he was very much a one-trick pony kind of guy. I think he was never an incredibly good player. He just lent quite hard on being good at set pieces. And sure, he was very good at set pieces. But that doesn't, for me, make him a good player for trying to stay in the Premier League. Also, I need to mess with my framing because it's in the wrong place. There we go. Where are we? Is it shady transfer business if we sell Joseph to Rangers for 20 mil and he kills it and buy him back for 10? It is shady, and it is also very likely not gonna work because I don't see why Rangers would be like, yeah, let's go for that, because that would completely fuck them on PSR when they need to do a rebuild right now. So I think just having a general agreement of putting each other in the right direction in the first place is a good start, and then you build out from there because it feels like a good step. After Monaco already signed for them. Yeah, that was the gist of the thing that I read. It was Leeds were in contact, but Monaco. And yes, 49ers. However, you don't want to sink one of your clubs for the sake of another of your clubs to get another £10 million. It feels daft, basically. I at no point blamed Bielsa. Like, not once. Yes, it was a failure in the transfer workings. Vardy could be absolutely the fuck not. No, thank you. No, not for me. Let's have a look at his numbers this season, which I'm sure are fairly reasonable, but never mind. No, they're not. Yeah, he's 38 now, which means that at the end of next season, he'll be 39 years old. Scored 8 goals this season in 33 games, which isn't the worst, but at the same time, he's going to be losing his legs. His quality's going to be slipping, and he's going to be demanding a hell of a lot of money, and he's going to want to play. If people want rid of Bamford because he's injury prone and he's very rarely available, the correct step to fix that isn't sign a 39-year-old man. That feels like a big step backwards, and it's not one that I'm a big fan of. I probably would. He's a fairly decent player. So, like, the comment section on the video that I did on him, by the way, was absolutely nuts because everyone was saying it's very clearly not good enough, and it's like, you've never watched him play. You've never watched Nicholas Raskin play a game of football in your life, and you're very committed to this opinion that he's not good enough. But well, why has his agent been pimping around? He's got to, because he's trying to sell on a 39-year-old asset. It's not going to work. Milner, the only reason I suggested Milner was he's a very good vibes pick. He's a solid vibesman, potentially going into next season. And if we can chuck him on off the bench a bit, I'd quite like him to get the appearances record, but who knows? Is Vobra as good as a gun? I like him in the Prem. I don't, because he's not particularly a centre-back. We like to think of him as one. He likes to think of himself as a left-back. So for me, it's a no thank you. We'll get a left-back that's more suited to the system. Yeah, Milner is just, he's built like a machine, whereas Vardy is built like Jamie Vardy. So that doesn't really help his cause. Anyway, I'm gonna keep streaming for another minute or two, and then I'm gonna call it a day there because I'm up relatively early tomorrow. I've got a meeting at 9 a.m. and then I've got to, as promised, give that Bamford interview a look, which could be quite fun. And yeah, let's have a quick look through bits and bobs. Take Vardy over Milner? Absolutely not. No, thank you. There are certain players that you think will do better in the Premier League than they did in the Championship. I'm going to say it quietly again because people get mad at me again. That's kind of perfectly suited to Pat Bamford, if you ask me. We give third point of the year. I also think so, to be honest with you. Like, he's a capable player. There's no harm in it. At least as a bench option, I think we try to retain Firpo. And honestly, I think we've offered him a contract. It's just a question of does he pick ours or does he pick Betis? Which I hope he picks us. It'd be nice if he picked us, but I understand it if he doesn't. So with all the OAPs getting mentioned, I wish I could tell you. Go with Milner for sure. Came in late, didn't realise he'd been mentioned. He had a little bit. What happened to the Crystal video? What happened was various bits with preschool stuff with Crystal and the little one, and then she was called into a couple of work bits. So we're delaying that to some point in the near future. I don't know specifically when. It's going to be coming back, but things have been absolutely chaos at the moment as work prepares for a very, very, very big thing. It's just about matching up availabilities and stuff, which is never easy in the first place. But working for the same employer when things are absolutely nuts doesn't help things. Give up 2 years and we still get a fee after a year. That's not a bad idea, to be fair. 3 players around 30 to 33 million in all lines is the right step, not 6, approximately 15, and without skill for Premier League. My reason for that is we must sign 3 to 4 really good players, not miss any. I disagree, but that's because we need players in more than 3 positions. And if that's what you've got the budget for, then that's what you've got the budget for. If we need players in 6 positions, you can still get good quality at 15. Rafinha was 17 something. So it's not like there isn't quality at those lower costs. Like, more examples. Howson at Bournemouth signed from Juventus for 15.2 million euros. Incredible centre-back that is now about to be signed by a top 6 side. Bergvall and Delap, 10 and 17 million euros respectively. Very decent players. Don't want to sound too optimistic, but I think we have a chance of staying up and doing well with the team we have, although we need additional signatures. Yeah, I think we add a few and it'll be fine. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the stream to a close there because tired and work in the morning. So, hope you all enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on the stream. That, as always, massively appreciated. Helps it to get pushed out a little bit. Currently at 38. If I can get to 50, that'd be spectacular. Subscribe if you are not yet as well. Let's have a look at where we are on subscribers, actually. We are currently on 5871, which means that we're closing on 6,000. 5,900 first, but eventually 6,000. So let's try and get there, ideally with you guys' help. That'd be absolutely wonderful. And and even become a channel member, which is like $2.99 a month, and you get a bunch of videos and stuff early. But I'm going to leave that there. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.